There is breaking news tonight. A massive tornado just outside Oklahoma City. An enormous, perhaps historic path of destruction after a direct hit from a tornado estimated at a mile wide. Much of the city of Moore, Oklahoma, has been wiped out. Entire neighborhoods are gone, including 2 elementary schools where children had to be pulled out of the wreckage. Tonight, a massive search for survivors is just getting underway. Our team is there on the ground. NBC Nightly News begins now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams, reporting tonight from Los Angeles.
Well, good evening. We happen to be in our NBC News Los Angeles bureau tonight, but it appears we are covering a historic tornado in Oklahoma tonight. One storm during a very violent day. This one has hit Moore, Oklahoma, just south of Oklahoma City. From the air, it is hard to know at times in the aftermath just what it is we're looking at. There are estimates that this tornado, preliminarily believed to be either an F4 or an F5, the strongest intensity winds on Earth, was over 1 mile wide at its base just a few hours ago. It was in Moore, Oklahoma, by the way, back in 1999 when the highest ever tornado winds were recorded on Earth, 302 miles an hour. Early pictures from Moore showed school children staggering into the arms of teachers and parents, fires burning, open fires from gas leaks, miles of devastation. It's been hard to listen to at times. Local reporters have been breaking up on the air, overcome with emotion while covering their own community, especially following an initial report that upwards of 75 children and faculty might have been inside a single elementary school classroom inside a collapsed structure. Mike Bettis, meteorologist with the Weather Channel, has been chasing these storms across the American Midwest. He's on the outskirts of Moore, Oklahoma right now. Mike, good evening.
Good evening to you, Brian, and I'll tell you, it is a chaotic scene, as you might imagine. Traffic is very heavy. We're about less than 2 miles outside of Moore, and I'm going to show you here folks that are trying to get into Moore, maybe trying to check on their homes and the damage there. It is traffic as far as the eye can see. They've actually blocked off the roadway here because they have a gas rupture in there, and first responders not allowing anyone in. In the distance, you can see power poles that are tilted over. We know that the tornado came from left to right across your screen, right into Moore. You can see smoke off in the distance there. We believe that fires have been sparked because of this tornado. Choppers have been hovering in the air. We've seen first responders, fire trucks. We've seen police officers just flying by down the road, but it is literally miles and miles of traffic. We're getting out of our vehicle and just walking to get there. This goes on for a solid 5 or 6 miles behind us because you just can't get there. The damage is too heavy. Brian, I hate to say it, but you and I were both there in Joplin, Missouri, and it's very reminiscent of that. This tornado at times maybe as much as a mile or wider, and we know we've seen the scenes from the air. I mean, truly devastating. Large brick buildings that have been destroyed. We're hearing now that also buildings like a Target, like Home Depot, with people inside flattened, and we have no idea how many people inside, what that may look like, but I can tell you at this point it's nearly impossible to get into Moore at this point, and again an unfolding situation that we have very little information on right now. We're trying to get to the scene and bring you what we can this evening, Brian, but very difficult logistically to get into Moore at this point.
All right, Mike Bettis, meteorologist with the Weather Channel, our first report tonight from outside Moore. Mike, thanks. And we want to bring you the report that aired on KFOR, our NBC station in Oklahoma City. This aired live on television and gave rise to much worry that the students and faculty were trapped inside a collapsed classroom in this one elementary school. This is reporter Lance West, who was reporting live from the scene.
Every possible emergency personnel is here doing their best to pull the victims out alive. I did speak to a teacher. Her name was Rhonda, 6th grade teacher here. She is nothing short of a hero. She had 6 kids with her in the bathroom. She laid on top of them as the storm passed through. They are all alive, all accounted for. I also understand that the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade students were all accounted for and have been moved to a church that is in the area, and they are safe there. So right now, still unaccounted for, I suppose kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders Still no word on those kids right now, but parents are just now beginning to arrive, kind of weave through all the mayhem, and as you can expect, they want to help. They're yelling at rescuers, why aren't they doing more? But believe me, these folks are doing everything they can to save whoever may be trapped in this debris. They are about to bring in some heavy equipment. I see a tractor about 50 yards from me that they're trying to get in through this mass of humanity so they can hopefully remove some of the heavier debris and get to what's underneath. But for those who may just be joining us, we do know that the third grade class was in a hallway in a classroom taking refuge from the storm, and that part of the building is completely gone. There are no walls standing of this school. It is wiped to the foundation. It's just nothing more than a big pile of debris. And like I said before, we can only hope and pray for the best that they can find these kids and these teachers alive.
This is, of course, a colossal tragedy and a colossal story for our friends at our NBC station, KFOR in Oklahoma City. We have since learned from Lance's reporting that police have set up yellow tape to keep parents away from the perimeter just so they can possibly hear voices from inside the wreckage as they go about lifting the wreckage off what's left of that school. Lance West with KFOR Television. Chris Warren, Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta. Chris, if there's any blessing, we did know this severe weather band was coming through. This was a broad daylight occurrence, so at least sirens were blaring, and at least this didn't hit in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that is one piece of good news, Brian. The bad news is if you did not get the warning, the only safe place to be is underground or completely out of the way, because you see these pictures, you see the destruction from the air and from the ground. It's almost impossible to even tell what this was. And I have been on the ground after tornadoes, and it's hard to make sense of what was where and what is now. It's really mind-boggling to see the power of what these storms can do. Part of the reason why you have this rising air. So this debris, the 2x4s, the pieces of metal, cars, they're getting tossed in the air. Some of the smaller pieces are getting tossed in the air thousands of feet. So you're seeing right now the rescuers doing what they can to sift through the rubble. And in many cases, this rubble is spread out for miles and miles. And again, thousands of feet into the air. Brian, right now what I want to do is show you the radar recap, because the radar can show you that there was some debris in the air. Let's take a look right now at that radar. So radar, it sends out a signal, measures raindrops, green coming back, lighter rain, yellow, orange, red. That's your heavier rain. Putting this into motion now, right at the time the storm was moving through more, and this storm at its height about 1 mile to 1.5 miles wide. Okay, so now we're seeing some purple in here. That is stuff in the air. That's called a debris ball. When we see this, and you see this hook signature where there's likely rotation, but you see this right there, we know there is something other than hail, other than rain that is in the air, Brian. So just looking at the radar without seeing pictures, we know we had a dangerous storm on our hands.
Chris Warren from Weather Channel headquarters. Chris, thanks. We have the mayor of Moore, Oklahoma, on the phone with us right now. Glenn Lewis, Mr. Mayor, I know it is early on. I'm sorry for the loss your community has suffered. This is going to redraw the map of Moore, Oklahoma once more. What do you know, being that it is so early yet?
Well, first of all, appreciate the call. We just got through taking a small tour best we could. There's a lot of power lines down, so we couldn't see it all. The city has lost a lot of buildings, a lot of houses, a lot of people are displaced, and we're working right now here out of the emergency management office at the city, and there's devastation all around us. The whole city looks like a debris field, but fortunately most people are in good spirits. We're first and foremost concerned with the loss of life and all those that are injured. One of the problems is looks like we've lost our hospital. I drove by there a while ago, and it's pretty much destroyed. So we're sending them down about 4 miles south of us. And like I said, the ambulance service has done a really good job here. The emergency management service has done an excellent job. This is something we've been through before, and we'll get through this again. We have one of the probably most experienced and best teams in the country for tornadoes, so we're okay.
Yes, sir. I've spent a good amount of time in Oklahoma over the years, and if I'm watching these pictures, Mr. Mayor, from home, I think we all have the same question. With no power and gas leaks, and the interstate I-35 is now shut down, where do you start?
Well, right now, we start with picking up the people that are injured and taking care of them, and then we go from there. We basically we have partnered. We already have crews out right now removing some of the highline poles that are down on the street. We'll get those cleared off first. The next thing we're going to do is check our school system, make sure that the schools are up and available, and that we have places for people to go. If they are, Silver Star, our construction company, is already out clearing those fields, and they keep giving me reports in as we're talking.
No,
but we don't have any numbers as far as fatalities go. I can't confirm any of those. And but like I said, we're taking care of it as best we can, and right now we're putting together a plan to start on it, and we'll start on it right now.
Mr. Mayor, I have to say this elementary school where K4 reporter Lance West has been reporting from just sounds positively grim. Imagine that scene of wreckage surrounded by parents and rescue workers asking them to stay quiet so they can hear voices. Do you have any information from there?
I do, but nothing I can release yet. Nothing's been confirmed. And we also had another school, Briarwood. All of those students now, they tell me, have been accounted for, and all the teachers. So we're very fortunate that school looks about the same.
All right, Mr. Mayor, again, we're all with you on this, and we're all watching. It's going to be an anxious night, and sadly, Moore, Oklahoma has been through this before. A lot of very resilient people there. I know you've got a lot of rebuilding and probably some dark hours to go here.
We have the record 317-mile-an-hour wind speeds at the last one in 1999. So, like I said, I know this is bad, but we'll manage to get through it.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for being with us. Mayor Glenn Lewis of Moore, Oklahoma. The Tabor family are among those